Welcome to the Pulse Neighbors. I'm Julius Clark, your local Indianapolis Realtor, and today we are with good friend and lender Max Mazza. He's not going to get offended no matter what you say his last name, but Max, thanks for joining us here today. How would we start off? Just you telling us who you are. Why are you here today, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be here. It's been an adventure working together. I think we've known each other about a year now, so it's been fun building the relationship. But I guess all in all, my journey's kind of taken a weird route. Went from college, graduated, went and worked at a bank for 2.5 years, realized I was not enjoying myself sitting at the desk. Then knew a friend who was working at a production builder, so I went and hopped into real estate. It was my first venture, so I was building new homes, managing the construction process, and did that for about 2.5 years. I did about 65 new builds, and I realized, it was good, but there was more for me. Then got into wholesaling full time based on another friend I knew who was doing it in Colorado. So I hopped into that, did it for about a year. And then, again, another thing led me to being a lender now. So been lending for about a year and a half, and that's where we are. So relationships have gotten me where I am now.
What did you go to college for?
Yeah, economics and finance.
Okay, so you're not one of the people that went for like poetry and ended up
No,
I
wish I had that skill, but no, just simple numbers.
Yeah, man. I wish I did it in undergrad. I did environmental studies in undergrad, and I loved it. I didn't know what I wanted to study, and they tell you when you don't know what to study is study what you're interested in. That's what I did. Didn't get a whole bunch of hard skills from it, but I went to grad school and got into the whole business management. So I always had an interest in econ, though. My favorite teacher in high school was my econ teacher. I started a trading account when I turned 18 because of him.
Oh, for real? That's impressive, dude. Not many people would have one even 30 years plus.
Yeah. He was influential on me. He was a football and wrestling coach, too, so he had a lot of sway.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
Well, you ended up in the world of real estate. Like, it wasn't where you saw yourself going, but you ended up there. What do you think you'd be doing now if you weren't lending?
Man, I always thought I'd be someone sitting looking at the stock market, analyzing, trading. I tried to get into that actually, but no opportunity fit / I didn't get the jobs, I wanted or thought I would get. And then, one thing led to another. I kind of just let life take me where it wanted. And, I'm glad I did, because real estate is, I think, the passion of mine. I never plan on leaving it.
Yeah. Where do you think real estate's going to take you?
That's a great question. I'm going to let it keep taking me where it wants to take me. I'd like to level up this year and do a flip a month on the side from my everyday job of lending. And then ideally, in 3 to 5 years, I'd like to be developing, whether that's developing raw land for, commercial builders or throwing up apartment buildings myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. We haven't said, but you're in Cincinnati, pretty similar market here to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference? I know it's easier for you in Cincinnati, but do you see big differences? It's really hard. Boots on the ground here, all I think about is Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'd say it's all about your connections. You and I working together, I'd be way more open to come into Indy if I have someone like you, which I do. Where if I didn't know you, I wouldn't really feel as confident. Preference, I would say, is just relationships. Yeah. Wherever I have that team, if it was in Texas, I would go Texas. But I settled into Cincinnati, and I think Indianapolis is definitely a market that I really want to start hitting, probably more towards middle to the end of the year.
Okay.
Once I get, Cincinnati up and running and kind of automated, keep the relationships we have, and, you find me some good deals, I'm all in.
Yeah. You said you're all about the relationships. Who do you got on, you don't have to name specific people, but what operations or jobs do you have that are on your team that help you run smoothly over in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I guess hard money or just in real estate?
Yeah, you got an agent, you have a property manager. What's your contractor relationship like?
So I guess I'm in a few markets as well. I was in the Columbus market before moving to Cincinnati. Okay. So that's where I have 4 doors up there with a partner. So we did about 5 deals together, and we actually just signed on property management up there, mainly just because I moved, and him and I decided, we'll see where this partnership takes us, but let's kind of automate it and go our own ways until we come back together, if at all. So property management there in Cincinnati. I actually convinced my wife, I don't know if she's going to regret that or not, to kind of be a transaction coordinator for me.
That's sweet.
So I've got her putting together some Excel files to start tracking my files, kind of be that on point for things I don't really have time for.
Yeah.
And she's much better at it than I am. And then, I also have my real estate license, so I'll sell my own deals. But I've got I'd say about 3 to 5 Cincinnati agents where I'd rather them put in offers for me, building a relationship. I don't mind paying someone else to do things they're better than me at.
Yep.
So when it comes to back end selling, if the deal's right and I have enough spread to let someone else sell it, I will. But, it's all about
headaches, man. That's really what it is.
Exactly.
It's like I had a couple of my first listings, and they were an hour and a half, or I guess it's 45 minutes away, really, up in Anderson. And every time something goes wrong, I got to go up there and fix it. And it's not ideal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sick, man. So that's awesome. You got a couple of different spots that you're over there in Ohio. Since I am a property manager, I got a question on property management.
For sure.
What's gone smoothly for you in property management, and what have you hated about your property management?
Yeah, so it's still relatively new, but I would say, especially with the onboarding, these people are pretty selective as to who they'll take on, what houses they'll take on. So it was definitely more effort than I thought going into it. However, I'd rather have that effort up front rather than hiring the wrong property management group.
Yeah.
And then with that came just fees maybe I wasn't ready for, or maybe they weren't expressed out the gate of, hey, we'll take this % a month, but hey, I need you to give me $3,000 down out the gate. I need 10% as well and a holdback. And I was like, okay, I get it, but having those things up front would have made it a little bit easier to plan accordingly. Mm-hmm. But they've been great already. They took over one of our properties, and we hadn't been in there for about 3 to 4 months, and you could tell we haven't checked in on it. So they're dealing with that tenant. Probably going to have to kick her out with the condition of the property, and she hasn't been paying rent. So that's where it's nice to hand off to the property manager. But and that kind of falls on us for not doing our jobs good enough. But that's why, relationships and property managers are so key. Like yourself, having that right one it's game changing.
Yeah, but when you're getting started out in property management, I'm usually inheriting other people's tenants. So luckily I haven't had any evictions to do yet, but I do take my time getting tenants in there because I'm hoping I don't ever have to go through that eviction process.
Yeah, dude, that's well said. It's not enjoyable, and that turns into squatting and gets expensive for everyone.
Oh, you had to? Like, you said you're about to, but you've had
Yeah, so we filed the eviction for her, and then she got some assistance funding from a government subsidiary, and that covered 4 months of her rent.
Okay.
And then it got her up to speed plus 2 months.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, we were working on it. Then she gave us the rent. Then we got the property management. So she actually did pay this month, which was refreshing. Yes. So we'll kind of see how this month goes in next month, and maybe do a few fixes and see if things get better. But it's been a headache, and sometimes it's better just to cut the cord. And she is month to month now, so it makes it a little bit easier to. Yeah, we'll give her fair enough warning, but it might be time to cut ties.
I'm assuming Ohio is pretty similar to Indiana on like being a little landlord friendly. So
yeah, it is, which makes real estate in these two states very nice, and that's why I think you're seeing a lot of influx, as well as appreciation, affordability, and a continual growth we'll see. Yeah,
a lot of these phone calls I get on with out-of-state investors, they're looking at Indianapolis and Columbus.
yeah. I think we're poised for good opportunity.
Yeah, the Midwest is a good spot to grow. I mean, when you're starting a little bit lower than LA and Austin, like, you got more room to grow. I don't think we're going to be the best market ever, but I think we're going to be one of the trending markets.
Yeah.
I think growth is where you're really looking for when you're going in Indianapolis or Columbus, because it's kind of at the bottom currently.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you don't find the rent to price ratios that you can get in, Indiana, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, for the affordability that you can in other markets.
Yeah.
And there's relatively nice areas too, which makes you feel nice you have a property that's not going to get trashed.
Yeah. Are you primarily in single families? Do you have multis or duplexes? Or?
Yeah, so I've got a duplex and then 2 single families that I'm renting.
Okay.
I'd love to get into bigger than 4 unit, but that's when lending gets a little tougher. You get into the commercial world, and also those deals are much harder to underwrite and find.
Yeah.
So wherever the opportunity is, though.
Yeah, I've been loving duplexes. It's honestly like it's like a hindrance to my business right now. I'm so focused on duplexes and the inventory is so low that I'm missing out on so much opportunity with single family properties. But you got to find your niche. So if you do send me a multifamily property, I'll be able to tell you about it. I can tell you that.
Well said. Yeah, we actually, for everyone listening, just closed a deal together, a duplex, ironically, and honestly, it was a great transaction. So anyone listening would definitely recommend getting with you for property management, being an agent, anything you need. You're definitely the man to go to, and in Indy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this one goes. I'm sure you saw the appraisal on it. We were a
Yeah.
little shocked at how high this thing might be able to go. We're using it as a buy and hold, or my client is. But that refi might end up being a little nicer than we thought it would be. So we hope. We'll
Yeah,
see.
and opportunities there, you got to take advantage, especially on those duplexes. You know, most people probably assume they're keeping money in. You know, I think when he does this one successfully, he's going to be pleasantly surprised. So you know he'll be calling you again.
Yeah, and the contract that we've got in there, I know they're going to do great work, so it's going to be top of the market. But even if it wasn't, it's a great spot to rent. I'm excited for it. There's another one for sale right there too. I went and walked it yesterday though, and it's a little rough. For everybody's listening, and you're an agent. There's no interior photos on the MLS. 35 North Walcott. It's interesting. If you need pictures or videos of the inside, let me know. But don't think it's quite worth it. It's a great area. I think that one will be worth it in the future. But currently, no. There's some pockets over there on the east side of Indy that are just popping off, man. I love them.
Yeah, it is true. What was that one listed? Was it listed reasonably, or were they, you know?
The one that's still for sale?
Yes.
That one's listed for $170, so pretty reasonable, but it needs like $200K to work.
Okay. And for all you listening, the one we just got a value on came back around 410.
Yep.
Which may have been a little generous. So even if you call it 370 to 410.
Still great. We were running it at 315. So
Yeah. So you can't be mad at that.
His purchase price 230, probably like 85. We're gonna cut some of those expenses out, not cutting corners, but using some subs that are a little cheaper on some projects. So hopefully we'll get that rehab done for 75. So all in at 305.
That's not a bad payday. Yeah, it's almost perfect bird territory, which you don't hear that often anymore.
Yeah, we were lucky enough. We were interested in it before. It was actually another client that I was working the deal with, and then it went under contract, and we weren't able to get it. But their financing ended up falling through. So we were able to hop in there super quick and get it done. And actually, I need to check up on another one. There's another one that this buyer was interested in that you were lending on that we weren't able to get. I told you about because he was having a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So that one's supposed to close today, but they've had to extend closing 3 times. So I called them yesterday, and they said if it doesn't close today, like, there's no reason to keep extending if you have another buyer ready.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I couldn't agree. Follow up is key. Follow up and moving quick.
I'm
we'll
learning
have that thing closed next week.
Yeah, I'm learning that, man. The follow-up, like, do you have Broker Bay over there in Ohio?
Yeah.
That app, like, I find like the feedback requests annoying, but then I start doing them, and then people are sending me messages, hey, buyer fell through, hey, we're doing final and best next week, or something like that, and it's so helpful. So taking that extra like 15 seconds to leave a review on the showing you just did, it's been paying back right now.
Yeah, honestly, that's well said. And the few deals I've sold myself, I always ask for feedback, and those who do, you one way or another, you may even build a relationship another way. I actually helped 2 people find homes because they gave me the feedback, and I knew 2 other people selling their flips. So it comes full circle too.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, yeah, we want to say relationships are like the backbone of real estate, but then again, like, most buyers just use the realtor that they talked to most recently.
Yes, you definitely. Yeah, that's fair. It's cutthroat.
It does suck sometimes, but like, you never know an opportunity is going to arise. There was another deal, house hack client, and we didn't get the appraisal that we needed to be able to close. So, guy's not going to get an appraisal that he needs to unless somebody comes in cash and purchases the deal. I don't see it happening. So I told him, hey, looks like he's wanting to move out of state. So I was like, hey, looks like you're going to need some property management.
Well said, yeah. It's smart.
So it's another thing, like when you get into real estate, being able to have your hat in a couple of different arenas just makes you so much more valuable to the people that you touch. Like,
yeah.
You being a lender, you've had construction experience, and then you're also a realtor, so you're able to hit people from multiple different angles to help them out.
Yeah, dude, that's well said. Yeah, being well-versed in multiple aspects of the same business only leaves opportunity and value add to people.
Yeah, let's talk about some hard money, man. I find hard money can be very confusing. Every lender is different, but they're all the same at the same time. They're all offering pretty similar terms, but who uses hard money, I guess is my question. Why would somebody use hard money, and how is it beneficial?
Yeah, definitely. So hard money can be for anyone. I'd say the biggest reason people use it is, 1, to leverage their cash, and then 2, maybe they don't qualify for conventional. I guess I'm going to give 3 reasons, and for speed. So you may have someone that's cash flush with $1 million, but they could maybe buy 3 to 4 properties, fund rehab, purchase out of pocket, or you go hard money route. you want to level up, you could do 10 properties at once.
Yeah.
So, instead of buying a property for $100,000, putting 50, you put $25,000 down, you get the purchase, you get 100% of your rehab funds available, you're limited cash out of pocket, and then you have more opportunity.
Yeah.
Then we also have people who maybe don't have that good of a credit score. Maybe we're talking 640s, 620s, 630s, a little less than the conventional world. We can still help those clients because hard money you pay, a higher interest rate for the risk that we're willing to take on a borrower that may not look as appetizing to, the normal lending world.
Yeah.
And then last, I'd say people who just don't have too much money. Maybe you got 25, 30 grand, which that is a lot of money. However, in real estate, you got people offering cash, $100,000 cash. So you got to stay aggressive. Hard money, we can move quick. You could bring me a deal, I could underwrite it, and we can close in a day or two. So with that comes the speed. 25 grand can get you around 100,000, 110,000 of borrowing power. So just helps you stay competitive in a competitive world of real estate.
Yeah, man, and it's definitely something I'm interested in using. I'm still growing, so need the funds to be able to close on something. But I think hard money is a pretty valuable tool to get in there for maybe not your first deal, but going forward. It's a confusing route, is why I say that for your first deal. But if you've got somebody that's in your corner that's willing to educate you, nothing wrong doing it for your first deal. Just make sure you know what you're doing in the world of hard money.
Yeah, well said. I would say, for those newbies, find a hard money lender that's patient, willing to work with you, willing to break down numbers.
Yeah.
If they're not, they may have cheaper terms, but you're going to pay for it in headaches, lack of knowledge, and you're not, you might get left in the dust. So finding that right hard money lender, we are all relatively similar as far as terms go, but you want to find one that you want to have a lasting relationship with, that, you can trust, and that is there for you when you need them.
Yeah, that's the differentiating factor in hard money, really.
Yep.
I usually don't recommend people hard money because it's a relationship business, but if somebody is looking for hard money, I'm looking to see whose personality they line up the best with and move it forward. And everybody that I've sent over to you, we've only been able to close one together, but every time I get the feedback, they're like, oh, wow, he wasn't just trying to sell me a loan. Like, he was trying to help me out and understand if this is what I need to be doing. So that's very valuable in the whole world of hard money. I think it can come off as... and what's the word?
Intimidating?
Yeah, intimidating.
Yeah.
It can definitely come off as intimidating sometimes. So having the person that's going to walk you through it and be your friend through the process, maybe not your friend, but at least your confidant.
Well said.
is nice to have, man. It's nice to have. So you've got a couple of properties in Ohio. You're interested in other markets if it's right, and you've got the relationships and everything. Where do you see, or what is your end goal with real estate? I guess what's your why is the question.
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, I don't know if I've been asked that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to make something up on the spot, which must be a good answer if it comes to mind. My why, one, I'm passionate about it. I've helped people. I've seen people in a struggle, and I'm able to help them get out of a bind, whether I was helping them wholesale it, maybe finding them a new spot to rent because their house was getting sold, or maybe I helped bring a homeowner who's never had a flipped house that I did, their next dream home.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really just about helping the people. I enjoy it. It's a fun business. I can kind of make my own schedule. Mm-hmm. I can sleep in if I want. I could go walk 10 houses. I could work at 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. I think the flexibility of real estate mixed with the potential monetary definitely helps. You can definitely make some money if you put in the work and, play that long ball game, as well as helping people.
Yep.
It's just a plethora of good things that come from real estate, if you're willing to put in that work, that is.
Yeah, man. I didn't actually do it or anything, but when I was in grad school, we talked about market analysis. Do I want to go into this market? Is it a good market to invest in or build a business in? All that stuff. And I think I kind of did that stuff subliminally a little bit, but I was previously selling mattresses and furniture. So that got me involved and my foot in the door in the world of things that people have in their home. And how big of a deal people's homes are. So naturally, I sold mattresses, and now I'm selling furniture sets, and insurance could be in the same vein. A lot of people go towards that, but looking at it, I felt naturally the next step up. If I want to sell things, why not sell the biggest and baddest thing that everybody wants?
Yeah.
And not only because obviously it is there. Anybody that is in real estate and tells you otherwise, there's money there, yes, of course, but it's just being that person that's in that very pivotal pivotal moment in somebody's life. Car salesman's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing. It's a little different. People buy cars for fun sometimes, but usually when somebody's buying their house, it's momentous for them. And being a part of that, it's like an honor almost to be allowed to do that. I think it's kind of a special job. It gets looked over. We're kind of spiritual in a sense with them. It's a big deal what they're going through. And I don't work with a whole bunch of retail clients. I'm trying to work with more, but primarily because it is harder. It's a little more draining because that process is so much more involved than we think it is.
Yeah.
We get there and then we think we find the perfect house for them, and we go walk it. We're so excited about it. We're like, oh, we're gonna get a purchase agreement put together. We're gonna get this one. This is the house. The ceilings are too low.
There's something. There's always something.
There's something, and it's just a little bit harder to deal with because at the end of the day, you're trying to get paid. You have to in order to move forward, but it's that balance of helping somebody while it's your job. All service jobs are like that.
That's well put.
Every single service job is like that. This is just a big one.
I couldn't agree. And the people you meet too. You meet a lot of fascinating people that you would never cross paths with, and you never know how that relationship could evolve from one thing to another. Not every client will be like that, but some people, it's fun. It's easy. It's fluid.
I tell you, my hardest client is my dad.
Of course.
It is so hard because you just separate the personal and business, and I will only text him about real estate. I'm like, if you want to talk about these personal matters, let's talk in person. We can't talk about real estate and then be talking about family stuff the next tags. That just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's well said.
Luckily, you don't have that. You shouldn't have that with the retail clients. Don't be their therapist.
Well, that's well said. Yeah, you brought up a good point. Trying to take emotion out of things. Yeah. Obviously you can be there to help people, but you don't want to get emotional when it comes to real estate because that's when the wrong opportunities can, you might overpay 20 grand because you really want a house, or you might pass on one because someone walked in and they said they didn't like it, but you loved it, and setting those expectations though. Yeah. Especially with your dad. Yeah. That's key. Being open and honest, man, that's what it's all about.
It's hard sometimes. You have to tell people a lot of the time. If they're crossing their boundaries, they're probably not aware of it. Yeah. You're probably not aware. You have to tell them. You have to.
Yeah, that's a good value add that you bring, working with people like yourself, the people that aren't scared to tell you what maybe you don't want to hear but need to hear.
Yeah. I would say not the one time, but probably the biggest moment in real estate where I literally straight up ask my clients if it's a competitive offer and we're using an escalation clause. I straight up ask them, where are you at scale 1 to 10? 10 being if somebody else bought this house, you're going to be mad. You're going to throw a pity party and you're going to have 3 days where you're not the same. And 8 being I want this house, but somebody else gets it. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. And if it's a 10, we're going hard on the escalation clause. I love it so much, but I have to sometimes use the emotions because when you're being a realtor, you're representing somebody and you're not making decisions for them, but you are negotiating for them, and you're trying to advise them. So it's hard to advise people without knowing exactly where their emotions are at. But especially on the investment side, you can't bring them in.
That's well said though. You're using the emotions the right way. You're setting expectations of, hey, you can get emotional, but this is where we stand. What do you want? And that's where you bring so much value, and the knowledge and your experience. You can help your clients.
Yeah, and there's ways that there's realtors out there that use emotions against people's clients too. You can do that. Emotions are very, very powerful. You can get somebody to agree to purchase a house, and they're going to have some buyer's remorse. And I don't ever want to be a part of that. My reputation means more to me than getting a paycheck. But it can happen out there. So be aware. If you feel like somebody's trying to play your emotions, they probably are.
Spot on. Yeah. Trust yourself. Trust your gut and your instinct. Emotions aren't bad. You can have emotions. Yes. Don't get me wrong. You just brought up a lot of great points as to why they're good.
Yeah, but they can be scary too.
Oh, they can.
Going outside of the world of real estate, but just big momentous moments in history, they're all emotion based. Wars, they're not logical.
That's true. Yeah.
They're not logical. People just do things because they want to and they feel a certain way and they're reacting to a certain event. But if you're able to kind of step back and see the trajectory of that event, I think you make better decisions in life, not in real estate, but just in life, whether it's going to college or which job you should take, taking time to do that. Something I like to do when I'm making big decisions like that. I can't always do it, but I like to just go out in nature, go for a walk, Take a couple of days. I think it's like 48 hours. People say you should take when making like a super big decision on whether or not it's going to be right for you. Take a moment from it.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about nature and walking and, running, whatever you need, whatever outlet where you just block out the world. Maybe try for anyone that likes to walk or run, do it without music, do it without your phone in your hand, because then you're forced just to walk and think.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's when I find I come to a lot of realizations about what I'm trying to accomplish, who I am. Maybe my wife and I had a fight, and I'm like, well, then I realize from her perspective, where I get out of my own head, out of my own way, and I view things in a different light.
Yeah. It's hard to grow as a person, man.
Yeah, it is.
You have to be so honest with yourself to grow. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Like one of my not idols, but somebody I look up to. I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yep, for sure.
And they talk about pretty frequently him and other creative people out there that a big part of their job is using their brain. If they're stuck, they go on a walk. So there's people like, I forget which comedian it was that he would talk about, or maybe it was even an author. But every single time before they walked, they had to go walk for 2 hours, and they wouldn't even. They would think about their book a little bit, but it was just getting their mind open. Just, oh wow, that's a beautiful tree. Experiencing and being open, taking some time off from life is very awesome. That's something I need to do more. I work way too much, but I do take time off. I need to find something more productive to do in my time. Like walking is not terribly productive, but at least it's good for your mental. I play video games, and it's just. It's fun and it's relaxing, but it's like, could I just go for a walk?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll need to start switching up. Give away my PC. If anybody wants a PC, DM me. I'll give it to you. I need to get rid of one.
Hey, it's all about balance. Go game for an hour, then go walk for an hour.
I can't game for an hour, man. Right. When I game, I sit down and game.
Just walk before you game, and then
That was another thing they brought up on Joe Rogan. It was one of them. I forget who it was. There's so many people he has on there, but he was struggling with video games too, and that's what Joe Rogan told him. Like, go do something for an hour productive first.
Yeah, then treat yourself.
Yeah, I do try to do that. I do. But it's whatever it is, man. You're married. You've got a wife.
Yeah.
What does she do? I know she's like starting to get a little interested in the real estate. But how has that relationship been for you? Is her job like anything analogous with real estate?
Yeah. So she's in digital marketing.
Okay.
So honestly, not really anything to do with real estate. But she is definitely way more hands-on when it comes to, I'd say, the Excel world and just computers and keeping things clean and track. My mind is all over the place at all times.
Yeah.
And she's very organized, which is, I think, why we go well together.
Yeah.
So, I've kind of been trying to slowly bring her into this real estate world. And then I dangled, this idea in front of her. And then, I threw a dollar amount out, and then her eyes lit up. And then I said, hey, opportunity's there. You're going to have to earn it. But I think this could be a great avenue for us. And then maybe, hey, if your job, you can quit that, and then we go full-time together. So we're still in the testing phases. I got to see. She's going to do great. I know she will, but does she like it? And one, I don't know if she's going to want to work with me. I'm pretty cutthroat when it comes to business.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said with your dad. I'm like, hey, I'm here to talk business. Let's talk business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about dinner,
Mm-hmm.
Or what we're doing this weekend. So it'll be fun. Some growing pains will definitely happen, and we'll take it deal by deal and see where it goes.
Yeah, I got a little bit of similarities there. We were talking. I got my girlfriend interested a little bit. We've been floating the idea of having her start a cleaning company because I'm a property manager and they always need cleaned. And then finally, we did a property together this week, and she wasn't like super thrilled about it or anything. She committed to it, and then right when I asked, Sarah, I know you're probably listening, but I love you, and it's fine. But we were like, I was like, oh, you're sort of like down to help me out. She wasn't super excited about it, but told her I could pay her $30 an hour, and then got a little more excited.
Hey, whatever motivates them to stay a little excited.
Yeah, man, it was exciting to see, and like even like other than the money, I think she enjoyed like us doing a task together that was outside of our daily lives.
Yeah,
I mean that would become our daily lives if that was what happened. But building something or being productive together is awesome.
That's well said. Sometimes they need a little. Everyone, but in this case, your girlfriend, my wife, need a little carrot.
Yeah.
To get them in to be interested, and then they realize, hey, maybe I love this, right? This is awesome.
Yep.
And then it's just out of the fun, and then money comes.
Mm-hmm.
When you do something you love, hopefully money comes. But
yeah, and it just felt like a good fit too. Somebody go steal my idea or her idea, but she's a teacher,
Yeah.
School at 2:30, 3 o'clock, go clean 2 houses, and you got the $200. You made what you made teaching for 8 hours.
Yeah. That's dinner. That's fun money. That's whatever the heck you want to do with it money.
Yeah. I think teachers are definitely the most underappreciated profession that we've got here in the U.S.
100%.
And they're not all grinders or anything. Like, they got a really hard day at school. But if you are a teacher and you're entrepreneurial minded, there's tons of opportunity out there for a 2-4 hour job after school that will help you put you in a better spot than you are. If you want that.
That's well said. And you never know where that will lead you. You got to start somewhere, and then that may build your interest in whether it's real estate, a side job. You never know. Just go with the flow.
You never know what a part-time job's going to turn into. I'm hiring a part-time person here in a couple of weeks, and we're hoping it grows into something amazing. But just starting off at 10, 15 hours, and if it works, it works. If you make me money, we'll grow this thing. You go off full time. That's for sure. That's how that goes.
Yeah, I'd say get comfortable with being uncomfortable. For anyone listening here, that's, I think, the key to life. Push yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I was an RA in college, and that was like a big thing about being an RA was being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Because if you're able to do that, you might not handle every situation flawlessly, but at least you're going to be a good customer support person along the way.
That's well said. Yeah.
You can be calm. You can be the calm, cool, collected person that opens up the door when everything's on fire. Like, it's a leader, in my opinion. You never know what's going to happen to you day to day. So if you can keep kind of even keel, you at least get through it. And next time you deal with it, you'll be a pro.
That's well said. And I can guarantee you everyone else is almost just as nervous or self-aware as you are to yourself. So you just got to do you and focus on you. And not as many people are thinking about us as we think. I try and keep that in my mind where I walk in a room, I think everyone's staring at me. Mm-hmm. No one notices me, So, like, have that relaxation of, I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to enjoy it. It takes a lot of pressure off of myself.
No, it's 100% true. There's so many people out here. We can't pay attention to every person that walks into a room. Yeah. I just saw that video on TikTok again recently where it's like it's people in white shirts and people in black shirts, and then the prompt is count how many times the people in black shirts like toss a ball. And
I've seen that
gorilla that walks through.
Like, dances through the middle of it.
Yeah, you walk in a room, somebody's on their phone. They might look at you, but they're not going to remember who you were.
Exactly. Yeah, easier said than done, though. I can tell you that much. But that's definitely one thing that's helped freed me up in life of just trying not to care as much.
I think the biggest place that affects people is the gym.
Yeah, actually, that's.
People are looking at you at the gym. They are, but they have no clue who you are, and they were in your shoes a year ago even. This is not a gym podcast, but if that is something you're looking to get into, I need to get myself back into the gym. Don't ever make that a factor. Like, people don't. And if they do care, pardon my French, they're a douche. They shouldn't care about what you're doing in the gym.
Exactly. Yeah, they got bigger issues if they're worried about you,
Yeah, man. I think there's a lot of things that are analogous in just life and real estate in general. Real estate's one of those careers where it's there's a little bit of everything in life involved in it. And you can translate that. That's why I started reading a book. Are you into martial arts at all?
I appreciate it. I have a buddy who's pretty big into it, but I can't say I've ever explored it personally.
Oh, you're good, man. I just got into jiu-jitsu. I have been. The month of March was bad. I haven't gone in a month. So paid expensive. It's expensive to be a part of a jiu-jitsu gym. I didn't go for a month. So next month I am making my money back and going more than I did in the past. I don't even know where I was going with that. But the book I'm reading, that's where I was going. It's by one of the Gracie brothers, one of the family that invented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's called The 32 Principles. I can't remember the name of the book. I have it in my backpack, but it's not the cover on it. It's the 32 Principles of something. And it's about Jiu-Jitsu, business, and life. So kind of puts like those three things, whatever your hobby is, it doesn't have to be Jiu-Jitsu, business, and life kind of on this triangle, and understanding these 32 principles that can help you navigate and get better at any of those things. Connection, being connected to your work, being connected to life, being connected to your opponent in jiu-jitsu. are trying to grow and you need personal growth. Books like that will kind of put a couple of things analogous to each other to help you better understand the theories or principles that they're trying to outline. Lovely. I love the book. This one's also got videos in it too. It's like a QR code at the beginning, so like
that's pretty slick. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it shows you. It's like the jiu-jitsu part of the book. It like shows you the move that is related to the principle.
That's smart.
It's brilliant. They've made their family well off with that. I don't know if you know the history of them at all. It's worth looking into. But the Gracie family had an opportunity to basically trademark Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and didn't. They thought it would be best for the growth of the sport to keep it open source.
Yeah.
This is another brilliant debate going on currently, but I'm going to get you out of here eventually. Got any topics we want to talk about before you get out of here in relation to real estate, relationships, life?
Yeah, I mean, I have a question for you. I'm swapping it. You're doing a lot of real estate, living in a world that I don't. So what are you playing on? Property management versus being an agent. I don't really focus on the agent world. And, are you said you're trying to buy yourself. What do you see the future of property management, agents in general versus like wholesaling? I know that's a whole topic as well. What do you predict, or what are your goals going?
Yeah, man. So how I'll start at the beginning because it makes things make more sense. But I became an agent to be a better investor. I'm not an investor yet, but I'm thinking long term.
Yeah, for sure.
Same reason I became a property manager, so I can be a better investor, get the experience and get to know the ins and outs legally, processes, and all of that. So I do see myself becoming an investor. I would like that to be my full-time job in the next, I think probably 2 years is feasible, but I'm going to say 3 to 4 years to give myself some cushion and make sure I'm not going too fast at life. But once that's my full-time job, my reason that I want to become an investor, there's layers to this shit.
Always.
I want to become an investor to build and maintain urban farms on people's properties, either my own or properties that I manage. Not because of the money. 100% I come from more of like the social and people aspect of life, but I have a background in urban farming, and I didn't want to throw that away. I transitioned and started looking towards real estate because I could no longer do farming. My knees and my back. I was farming probably like 4 or 5 hours a day, not even every day, probably 3 or 4 days a week. And my body was just giving up. So I started listening to the Bigger Pockets podcast and quickly realized, probably 3 episodes in, man, I could do this and just like pay or buy farms that do this. Like I know that I can't do the work anymore, but it's what I love.
Yeah.
So I don't farm anymore. I want to get back into volunteering at a couple of the urban farms here, so I can just keep my skills sharp and everything. But I think operating them will give me the same amount of joy.
Yeah.
Because bringing food to a city that doesn't have it that's my main goal. I'm going to start off with elderberry trees. Giving away my plans. Hopefully I'm going to go buy some next week, actually. It's a girlfriend's birthday, and I think we're going to go up to Michigan or something, and there's a place up there that sells the trees. So I'll come back with some trees. They take a couple of years to actually fruit, but I'll take those trees and make more trees out of the trees and start putting them on people's properties next year. Work out those agreements with the properties that I manage. And the best part, not the best part, but the business part of it is it's very profitable.
That's never a bad thing.
It is. So I didn't even realize it and see it that way. I started off looking at just doing regular farms, doing your spinach, your broccoli, your kale, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I talked to a couple farmers and talked about my business plan, and they're like, man, I love this idea, but it sounds like you're business minded, and if you want to do that, you're not going to make money. You don't. Urban farming it's a lot of work. It is the least passive thing you could ever do. And you might make a penny. The only reason that those big farms make money is because of subsidies. So when you're a small farm trying to fight the good fight, there's nobody trying to help you. There's nobody trying to help. When you're up against the government giving out billions of dollars to farms, it's really hard to compete with that. So I came to the conclusion that doing perennial fruiting trees, trees that you put on your property that will continue to fruit year after year, is by far the best business practice when it comes to trying to get food into the economy here. So we'll start with the elderberry trees, and then we'll go from there. I'll see what the elderberries need help with. I haven't researched them like terribly. I know enough to grow them, but eventually that soil is going to get dry of some type of nutrients, so I'm going to have to plant a plant that puts that nutrients in the soil next to the elderberry. But these trees are phenomenal. They grow like 25 pounds of fruit a year. You can sell that for anywhere from $20 to $35 a pound.
Wow.
So I did the math really quick. I don't remember if it was 20 or 25, but if you've got 10 properties with 10 trees, so 100 trees, you're making $62,000 a year.
That's not a bad that's not a bad idea.
No, not at all. So that's the big thing for me next year. That was like big goal.
Okay.
But next year I'm going to start a lawn care company, so I can kind of start integrating that, because I don't think I can get a lawn care company to go and harvest my crops.
That's well said. Yeah.
So I've got to build that out myself. Once I've got, I'm hoping to get 50 properties under management by the end of this year. Once I'm at that point, I'll be at a point where I could bring somebody on for lawn service, and it'd be like a full-time job.
Smart.
Yep.
So how long will the elderberry take to grow before you can harvest fruit?
Yeah, it's going to depend on what year I get them. The ones I'm looking at, it would take me about a year or two. So just buy a whole bunch of them now and let them grow, so I can start putting them on people's properties in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, I think that kind of ties in to real estate in the aspect of, if you want to get rich overnight, I'll be honest with anyone listening here, real estate's not for you.
No.
It takes time, effort, and it's a long ball game, which that's what you're doing with your trees. You see an opportunity, you're gonna take each step by step, and it's gonna pay dividends.
I've got to buy 10 trees, and then I never have to buy a tree again.
That sounds like a pretty good opportunity right there.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a challenge, but I think it'll be worth it, and I'm up for fighting the good fight. It's a little easier when you're in real estate. And I don't have buku money yet, but it's a little easier when you've got a couple extra dollars coming in from real estate behind you.
Yeah, hey, well, the buku money's coming.
Hopefully, man. I mean, if it doesn't, it's whatever.
Well
I'm happy the way I am. I like my life. It's growing fine. Do need a couple more dollars so I can pay off the student loans. That's like the short-term goal, like 50 properties. It's kind of where I see that happening, is now my property management company covers my student loans, and all the money I make from real estate transactions can go towards saving for investing.
Yeah, I'd say you're well on your way to achieving your goals.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think 2024. I can't believe it's halfway through March.
I honestly can't.
Life just goes faster and faster the older you get. You got to hold on to every single moment you can and try to remember the most of it you can, man. I find my memory gets worse too.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
We're so young already, but when your day is filled with phone calls and emails and meeting people, I forget people.
Dude, for real. I'd say one takeaway is enjoy the process. Enjoy the grind, enjoy the hustle, because one day you'll be sitting on your beach chair, you'll be sitting at home, and you enjoy the spoils, but that's not as fun as, the grind, the people you meet, the memories you make of getting there, and, it might be as fun. I wouldn't hate hitting the golf course every day, but, enjoy the process.
Yeah, man. That starts our conclusion. Lovely. I asked you a couple questions before you get out of here, and the first one is, if there's any takeaway. So if there's any takeaway from Max today, it's enjoy the process. Get involved with it, make it your own. You'll appreciate it at the end. My other question, I think this will be a little more valuable because you are an out-of-towner. The question is your 3 favorite spots in Indianapolis to go, but because you're from out of state, it's going to mean a lot more. When you go somewhere in Indy, it's rare.
Oh, man, that's tough. Gosh, I am horrible with directions and names and places. Gosh, I'd have to pull out my phone and start looking things up.
Well, you're going to Topgolf today, is that
one
of them?
I do end up going to Topgolf about every time I'm here in town. You can never go wrong with Topgolf.
Yep.
Whether you're good or bad at golf, food's always solid. The drinks are there too. That never hurts.
Yep.
Topgolf is definitely one. There was a meetup I went to.
4-day race. One of Fisher's?
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay, that could be one. There was a rooftop bar that I came to at the end of last year as well.
I don't remember what that one was called. It's down there, like downtown. It might even I know their event space. It's literally called like the rooftop bar.
Yeah,
I don't remember the name of the bar, but people.
That was a cool area.
Oh yeah,
popped around there. So I'd say area wise, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
Is that close to the Fountain Square or whatever it's called?
Yeah, it was like just north of there, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so that general area, I'll tell you, I've gotten lost walking around there a few times, but you always stumble into something pretty cool. Let's see. Other thing, it's not a place, but one of the first few times I came down, I would hop on a bird, and I just rode around, going around Lucas Oil Stadium. So that was pretty cool. I actually shot a few of the entrances for the football team.
Yeah.
Cousin owns a firework company, so I went on the field a few times and did that. And I never spent much time in Indy, though.
Yeah.
But then 4 years later, here I am. So just fun to cruise around there, see the actual area where I was at. So take a bird around the town, downtown, and top golf.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could name the spots in Cincy, but I haven't been there in so long.
I'm still learning after moving back.
You go to Bengals games?
Yeah. I try to.
I'm a Ravens fan, so I haven't been in a while, but when I was younger, I'd go like every other year when the Ravens would come in town. Because they never play the Colts. They never play the Bengals.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
fair.
would come in town and watch those, and there's got some crazy fans.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's just football in general.
Yeah, man. Last question is, if we could find you or we found you in your natural habitat, where would you be outside of the world of real estate?
Natural habitat. Good question.
Or like hobbies.
Yeah, okay. I would say it's going to be something random. Usually it's going to revolve around the weather. So if it's nice out, you can catch me on the golf course or going for a little run, beginning to running lately. I also enjoy the gym and eating good food.
Sweet.
So usually I'll go from one to the other. Go hit the gym, go outside, and then go eat a nice dinner.
And nothing that beats a nice meal after a good workout.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, you feel so much better eating double the amount of food.
Yeah, that's true.
The wallet doesn't like it, but that's another day's problem.
Chipotle after the gym.
Key, yeah. Get a burrito on the side, extra everything else. You get 2 meals in one. Little hack for anyone listening.
All right, I'll link it down in the show notes, but where can we find you if we want to talk to you?
Yeah, I would just say hit me up. Cell phone talk. Yeah, well, I have one for work, but I think I've never posted.
Wait, Facebook, bro.
Facebook,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll link your Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. I got a personal and a Wildcat one. On there, DM me, hit me up. I'm always happy to chat. Anything real estate, life in general. I just love meeting people.
Okay, man. Anything else before you get out of here?
I would say anyone who's thinking about doing anything in life, there's never a right time. You'll never be fully ready. You just got to take the jump. Bet on yourself, bet on your confidence, and go have some fun. Take some risks. End of the day, you'll figure it out.
Someday never comes. Start today.
Boom.
All right. Thanks so much, Max.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's been wonderful.